get this started again, meeting with all the different groups that we're collaborating with. So we're excited everybody was able to join us today. Go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, and if you couldn't tell from the various emails that you received, that apparently were quite confusing. I'm very excited we were able to do this too. I'll be honest, one of the biggest things that I've heard in the last 5 months, just so y'all know, I'm Christian Andrade. I know I've met pretty much everyone here, but just in case, the COO here at ELV. And in the last 5 months, what I heard repeatedly was, gosh, I really wish we had that meeting back. It'd be great to touch base with these other groups that are, doing the same things as us, but maybe in a different way. So thank you so much for making time out of your day. I realize how busy it is. I highly doubt we're going to take the full 90 minutes, but I just like to give us a big block for things like our little technological snafus and what have you. The first thing that I'll also point out is thank you to those that responded to our questionnaire, and thank you, Milena, for helping me put that together. We did get some very interesting responses, which I'll cover in a bit. But on our agenda today, essentially, we're just going to cover a couple of brief updates from ELV so that you know what we've been up to. And then we're going to move into a bit that just covers like what we heard from that questionnaire, and that'll lead into more general open discussion. There is no topic off limits. There is no allotted time. Obviously, please be as brief as possible for the interest of our group. But overall, this is a free forum for us to help determine what's going to be most helpful to everyone as we continue moving forward into next meeting and hopefully many meetings after that. Then we'll kind of have a wrap up with any sort of action plan as to what we'd like to see everyone do or transitioning to conveying our information between each other. And that way, if there's someone on the call that you'd really like to follow up on with a specific topic, please just let us know. Or if you want to reach out in the chat, more than happy to have all that there. This, again, free space. We're just trying to make sure that we're really providing a space that we can build collaboration. So with that, I'll move into a little bit about our update from the ELV side. One of the more important items that we've been working on, and as some of you know, because I know you've been a part of these conversations as well, is the CACFP world. So I just was curious if you want to put in the chat or raise your hand or shake your arms or whatever, because I know we're all just sitting here, trying to get a reading on like who's going or has someone, a constituent going to the San Diego conference in April. ELV will be there. I'm just curious if anyone else is going to be attending that. The reason being, obviously, we would love to see you there, but also never bad to share ideas.
And just for those, thank you. It's the Child and Adult Food Program Association meeting in San Diego. If anybody's going to be there, we're going to be there. We'd love to connect with you, or if you know of any of your food program sponsors that are going to be there, which is who it's geared for, we'd love to have you connect us with them, and we'd love to share what we're doing around that space around the food program sponsor.
Because one of the big things that we're trying to accomplish this year is to really explore and expand our food program capabilities. And with that, it's taking a lot of help, shared services, right? And what we're seeing is that it is a complex program, but it's certainly one that we can do. And the goal would be that ultimately we're able to have almost 2-tier products. So one product level that is, if you only want to focus on food program, and then the other would be the full core system as part of that. And the reason being that I know for those of you that have used the core system, I'm assuming almost everyone has, it's a very comprehensive system. And depending on the provider, depending on their needs, they may not need the whole system, but we're really hoping to have that rolled out by the end of, we're looking at like June. If later than that, we'll definitely let you know, but that's an exciting thing that we're putting a lot of time and effort into. Another item that we're very excited about, our Wisconsin group has been very, very, very helpful in helping us get a translation in Spanish of the Alliance Core system. And we're happy to say it's live. We still have some testing to do Yeah, we've got some testing to do, and we're going to make sure that there's a more widespread sharing of information as to what that looks like, how to access it, etc. But I will tell you, I'm saying this in the most professional manner I can. My first glimpse when it turned on, I went, "Oh my goodness, that's there." Insert expletive here. And so I was very excited to see that turn on and actually convert the entire system. And then we also have the mobile application that's going to be fully translated now as well. It's very exciting for us because obviously there's a large contingency nationwide that is Spanish speaking. So to have something that's in context, culturally relevant, speaks at a level that conveys the information in a way that is accessible to both providers and parents is huge. So we're very, very excited about that. And then, as you may have noticed, we have had some growth here at ELV, and we continue to do so, and we're continuing to do so. We have Mr. Giovanni Romero here with us. If you want to give a quick wave there, Mr. Gio. He's working with Milena. He's our newest hire. He's our membership marketing specialist, and he works directly under Milena. So if all of you love Milena, you're going to love version 2.0. But we're very excited because he is just the first of several new hires that were coming on board this year. We have some great plans in terms of what we're hoping to do as an organization. And a lot of times what we found is the better we get at this, the more people we need to serve everyone. And it's just been very fortunate that we were able to do that. And I can't express this enough that it is genuinely due to the people on this call that we are able to, because without you guys, we're nothing. You know, when we are trying to apply for RFPs, when we're trying to demonstrate against some of our, competitors in the software space, and I say competitors because, we're not a software company. We're a 501c3 who just happens to have a product that is software. And without all of you on this call, there's no way that we would be able to do any of that. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone here, internally and externally, because there's no way that we would be able to provide the level of service that we're looking forward to without your help. I think Judy might have a few more words on our growth. Oh, Judy, you're muted.
Yeah, and I think we're going to go around and do so that everybody can introduce, so everybody knows who's on the call. But yeah, I'm Judy Williams. I'm the CEO of ELV. I think I know everybody on the call. So I know that partly, as we meet individually with the different groups that we're working with, we heard over and over that we wanted to start meeting together as a hub. So just really excited that we could start this again. Yeah, our growth is really, we've been compiling our numbers as we end the year. And what's been interesting is we are Colorado. We're definitely looking to continue to expand in Colorado. But now with the providers that we're serving, which is over 1,200, over half are outside of Colorado, specifically on our Alliance Core system. So that just has been super interesting for us. We're excited to finally launch the Spanish Alliance Core with our partnership in Wisconsin. I see Kelly's on the call. I mean, it's been a long time coming, but what now is important to us is that we have the right support for it. So I know you guys met Gio. Gio is a Spanish speaker. And so he's going to really be helping us tap into recruiting members for that market, as well as we'll be looking for a full-time Spanish client support that will be the lead trainer for this, that we have really good supports around using the Spanish version of Alliance Core. So I think that, and I think one of the things we're actually, now that COVID is really lifted and conferences are back up and starting, we're really looking to get out there into different groups. And so we talked about, we're going to be at the Child and Adult Food Program Association National Convention, but we also are doing a joint, we'll see if we get selected with our friends in New York, the AEYC Association conference. So and then as well as, I don't know if anybody is on from Indiana, but they got selected for the Family Child Care Conference to do a presentation and are including us in their presentation. So we're definitely looking to get out to some of these different conferences, and hopefully we'll be seeing a lot of you guys. I know, see Sharon and Louise are on. I think we're all excited about the There will be a shared services conference again this year in October. So hopefully everybody will be, hi Sharon. I don't know if you want to, I know everybody's probably on your mailing list, Sharon, but I don't know if you want to talk about that. But I think just what we're hearing from the groups that we're working with, everybody's really excited that that's going to happen again this year and give that opportunity to make those connections. And is there anything else you want to share about that?
Well, first of all, kudos on the progress on the food program front. That's really, really exciting. And let's see. We normally do the conference every 2 years. We're doing it a year and a half from the last one because there is explosive growth in this field, and it's just really exciting. I'm actually thrilled that you guys are going to go to the food program conference. I think that that'll be a terrific opportunity for ELV and for the folks who are there that can interact with you. So excellent. That's excellent news. So the conference is in October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Phoenix, Arizona. And I think it's going to be a heads up. I think we're going to sell out. We can accommodate 400 people, and we already have about 250 people on an advanced mailing list. So we're going to open registration on May 1st. Make sure you register, as soon as you're able, if you're planning to come, because I think that the demand's pretty explosive.
Thanks, Sharon.
Sharon, is there anything you can share about how the agenda, I know you guys are co-sponsoring with Civitas, which a lot of us have contracts and are working with Gary and Civitas.
Absolutely.
Is it going to be a different kind of, I guess I'm just curious about the agenda and the presentations and some of that.
Yeah. Well, automation is going to be featured prominently. I can tell you that some of the tracks so the theme is changed now, and we're trying to address what we think are some really pressing problems. So there will be a track on workforce, specifically compensation and benefits. There will be a track on leveraging the power of technology, and at the provider level and connecting that to state systems. So that's a big piece. Business sustainability, and obviously how automation helps with that. We're going to have a track on diversity and inclusion, and just how the way we're seeing the system, how these strategies around shared services and access to technology and automation, how that actually really opens up new paths for leadership and brings about more equity. And we'll also have a track on measuring our impact evaluation. How do we know we're making a difference? Louise, do you want to add anything?
I think you covered it, Sharon. I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
So thanks, Sharon. What I'd like to do at this time is, number one, I'm just going to cover a little bit of feedback that we heard, but then I'd like to go around and ask everyone to briefly, you don't have to give us a spiel that you could say, here's my name, where I'm from. But I wanted to read some of the feedback that we received from our questionnaire, which I thought was powerful, telling, I hope inspiring, but also pretty truth-telling. One of them, which I loved, was about, if you remember, the questions were, what is one item relating to the programs or people you serve that makes you proud to be a part of early childhood education? And I'm not going to associate names, so don't worry. The willingness to innovate, to risk not only thinking outside the box, but actually taking action, even if it's hard and requires a lot of trial and error. And I thought that was really powerful, because I don't know any industry, frankly, that requires as much trial and error, just outside of maybe aerospace. So I think that's pretty awesome. The other question, not as positive, but very telling, is, what is one item regarding our children or our providers that keeps you up at night? And there are a lot of actually different responses, but along the same themes. There isn't meaningful progress towards sustainable, livable wages for EC professionals. Seems to be the elephant in the room. Or another, workforce, retention, recruitment, compensation, financial equity. Another, Retention, UPK. Another. I lose sleep over the fact that not enough of our teachers/caregivers are adequately trained in child development, and yet we need them in classrooms to meet licensing ratios. And what I find from like these various responses is like, obviously we know they're all true, but what I think about is how are we going to create solutions for them? Or what is it that we could be doing together? And what is it that we can provide through our services that really compels someone to make a change? So switching gears slightly, a few more positive notes before we do our quick introductions. But what is, again, one item relating to the programs or people you serve that makes you proud to be a part of early childhood education? The workers persevere in their jobs despite low pay, long hours, and in many cases, no benefits. But most of them show up day after day to provide care to the children of our community. What can you say to that? I mean, that to me feels like a round of applause. Being able to provide the children a safe environment to learn and grow. I love being able to help the providers be more successful in their businesses by helping them with the technology that's available through ELV. I didn't plug that, that was in there. I didn't make that up. So, you know, there's clearly a lot of positive things happening, but it's also pretty obvious that there are some gaps across the board at a systemic level, but some of them I think we can definitely address. So with that, I'd like to, I'm just gonna go from who I see on the screen here. Please introduce yourself and maybe tell us the most important thing that you're working on right now. It could be anything. Kelly, would you mind?
Me? Or the other? I knew that.
Oh, sorry, Kelly Esch. Sorry.
I am Kelly Esch. I am in Western Slope, Colorado, Garfield County. We serve a couple counties here. The biggest thing that we are working on is finalizing our substitute placement agency, which is going to allow early childhood subs to go into all of the programs here. And my biggest takeaway from this is having ELV core is making it so much easier because all of their files are on there and are able to go to all of the programs, because that's one of the big things is that the substitutes files are transferable because we're the license, like we hold the license, and they're able to go to anybody that we have a contract. So that's been a huge benefit for us.
Kelly, thanks for bringing that up. Just to clarify for the groups, in Colorado, it's been about 2 years, they finally pushed new rules and regulations that you could be a childcare, you could hold a childcare substitute license. It's been, and listen to you, it's been 3 or 4 years since that got passed, and nobody's been able to do it. You know, there was this huge push that everybody wanted to do it, and it would be, you know, something that they needed. The burden was these licensing rules, and they've done it. And so nobody's actually done it, right, Kelly?
Yeah,
and so
we're doing it in a different, we do have somebody else that has it, but it's they have one employee that goes to 5 programs, or 7 programs. Anyway, so we're having a whole sub pool, which adds a lot more challenges of the like connecting them to the program, which one's right for who. And we serve a massive geographical area, and some subs only want to work in some areas. And yes, it's lovely.
Yeah, I know Wisconsin does this too, but I know this is something that always comes up when you do focus groups around shared services with providers, that everybody's, you know, looking for something. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, Kelly, that is so exciting.
Thank you, Lucinda. Yes.
I'll call you offline, but that's really wonderful.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kelly. Shelley.
Hi, my name is Shelley Summer. I'm the operations director for Palmetto Shared Services in South Carolina. We're still really tiny, but Judy has believed in us from like the very beginning, which has been so good because we're so small. And we are this close now to being fully funded by our licensing company. And I just wanted to share that because she has known how hard we've struggled to sustain and to find funding and to be able to grow so that we can do the kind of things you guys all do. and we're literally this close.
Yeah,
So close.
I think what's been exciting too, because we've been working with South Carolina for many, many years, but we had a new funder come to us. They're called the Commerce Foundation, based out of New York. One of their trustees happened to be in Colorado, and it's the first national funder that's come to us, looking at our business model, saying, what does it take to get providers to join? And what, you know, and it doesn't matter if they're in Colorado or outside of Colorado. So we were able to secure some funding to fund 35 providers, and we're partnering with Shelley in South Carolina as well as Virginia to help, you know, take that funding and really support building out their alliance. So we're excited
really
about
thrilled
that.
with that. It's very exciting. People get really excited when I tell them.
Fantastic, thank you. And just so you know, I'm going to skip over ELV people unless there are objections. Okay. Tammy?
Hi, I'm Tammy. I'm in Hawaii. I'm the shared services coordinator with Ka'upena. So my program is under Patch, which is our resource and referral agency. And we're small. I have 24 providers that are using ELV right now. So I'm trying to grow that. We just heard it's not officially signed yet, but we are also just getting DHS licensing on board with our program as well. So that's super exciting. So I'm working with the providers on making sure they're using core to make sure they're in compliance with licensing. But that additional funding is exciting as well to sustain the program, pay my salary and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
And one exciting thing with Tammy is she helped us recruit one of our client support specialists. So Tammy's daughter actually applied for one of our positions, and so she has a very deep familiarity with providers in Hawaii. So that was exciting to be able to leverage.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, and to quick comment on that, I will say her name is Rachel Kirk. She's not on the call today, but she's also part of that expansion, and we're very thrilled to have her. So it's again a testament to the power of these connections. So thank you so much, Tammy.
Can I ask
Thank
a
you.
follow-up question of both Shelley and Tammy? Because both of them talked about how they were being funded by the licensing division, which for us at OpEx is a new sort of approach to how you get funded. So I'm just curious if we could better understand, is it actually like money that's allocated in the state budget for licensing that's funding you, or how does that work?
No, for us, I mean, it's the whole SC childcare, the whole.
Oh, so it's the division of childcare.
Yeah, sorry. We
Okay.
just call them childcare licensing.
Okay.
That was just a slip of the South Carolina tongue.
Got it. And is that true also for you? And is that what you meant also in Hawaii?
You know, I honestly don't know a whole lot about it. My boss, Carol, is the one that's been, you know, she wrote the proposal and she's been talking to them
Okay.
about it and stuff. But my information is that DHS is on board, is what I'm
Okay.
told. So
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks. I just got triggered by the licensing thing. I'm like, oh my God, that's a new funding stream. Let me figure out how to get it. So I just wanted to.
Yeah, but Louise, it is similar because Patch, although they're a resource and referral, they're a food program sponsor. We've been working with them for about 2 years, and it's been really tough, as sometimes it is, to get licenses to see where they fit in shared services. And so through Carol, who I took over as the interim executive director, she's been able to build that bridge between the resource and referral and the DHS, which again, subsidy, but licensing is a big thing. So
I would interject one more time on that topic and tell you that licensing has been they have kind of fought. They didn't respect us for a very, very long time. They didn't want anything to do with us. They literally rolled their eyes at us in a meeting. And Susan, who is our professional development director, got to know the head of licensing really well during a federal training. And that's when everything changed for us. So I think we finally got licensing on our side with Susan, and now like the ball is rolling, and it's shocking to us. So anyway.
Yeah, Carol has some good connections with the DHS office, childcare division here, and she's been having a lot of conversations. And then she had me actually go out and do demos, and Melena was with me with one of them, right? One or two of them. where we did a demo for the licensing workers and showed them what they could do when they have access to core and what they could, get from the provider's information from their office, and they don't have to go to the provider's home to get a report or whatever. And so now I have several licensing workers that have access to core, so they can go in and look at the provider's information, but they just really haven't had a lot of buy-in until now that they're going to be helping subsidize this program. Then it's more valuable to them. So now it's the push for me to get the providers using more of the pieces that the licensing workers are going to need to see, and to show them the value in it, So if my goal is to get at least half of my current providers completely compliant so that the DHS licensing worker could just log in and gather all their information before they even go to their home to do the visit. So.
Great.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for that shared conversation there. And feel free, that's exactly what we're hoping for. So please don't feel, like you can't interrupt. This is purely kind of conversational with a large group. Stephanie, would you love to tell us the most important thing that's going on in your world? Introduce yourself.
Hi, yes, I'm Stephanie Parator. I am with the Learning Lamp in Johnstown, PA. And we are pretty much brand spanking new to ELV. Eva came out and helped us along with all of our training. And I am here just to sit back and listen to you all and hopefully gain some insight to be able to maneuver and get around on ELV. I really like the idea, Kelly, with the substitute program, because I actually do that now pretty much pen and paper, old school. And I would really love to automate that.
Thank you, Stephanie. It's great to see you here, and it's always wonderful to have the support of all of our good friends here. Lauren, would you mind introducing yourself?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lauren Small. I'm with Early Education Business Consultants. We're the management hub for the Hampton Roads Shared Services Alliance in Hampton Roads, Virginia. And the biggest thing we have going on, probably like all of you, it's hard to choose. There seems to be a lot going on all the time in this industry. But our focus right now for our alliance is on building out our tier 2 services, which has been kind of in a pilot stage. And we're focusing on HR recruitment, where we're screening applicants through, we have Acquire for Hire in our state, and working to feed those viable candidates onto centers that are in our hub. And so we're tracking data on that and really trying to tweak that to support the centers with their hiring crisis. And then also part of that tier 2, what we're working on with ELV is really supporting centers to fully utilize childcare management software. So we're partnering with ELV with their piece of it that helps onboard, but our alliance is kind of boots on the ground to provide technical assistance when needed to each chunk of the software to make sure that they're fully utilizing it. So we're piloting that kind of process where we're giving extra help and trying to, again, track outcomes on how much time the centers save when they, fully onboard childcare management software. And something that really stuck out to me at the conference last year is when Louise said, even when they have the software, it's only being used at a lot of times 20% of capacity. And so those little data points have really helped us also with funding support and our partners understanding how just paying for software doesn't necessarily mean that's going to really be a tipping point. So that's what we're kind of focused on right now.
Great. Thank you so much, Lauren. Ms. Kelly Matthews, since I didn't clarify the first time.
All good. We have a couple of Kellys at our agency, so I'm used to that. So I am with Wisconsin. We are the WESN, the Wisconsin Early Education Shared Services Network. For those of you who are super tiny, Shelley, we started with 2 programs. I remember those days. Like I was the one out there recruiting. You will get there. Totally believe in you.
Thanks, Kelly. That means a lot coming from you because you're like, a little bit of a rock star in your Wisconsin world. Thank you.
We are only a rock star because of the amazing support we've had from other shared services who went before us and our TA consultants, and our team is stellar folks. So we recently broke 2,000 for our number of programs serving, which is wild to even think about. We do have 3 tiers of service. And so the thing that we are most excited about right now, and is one of our big lifts, is our EAP. We have an educator assistance program that we have launched. Typically, our services work with just the program lead administrator or family child care provider themselves. This program extends our support to anybody who is employed in those programs and their households. So theoretically, we're looking at a footprint of 20,000 people that we could impact by providing these services, and we're pretty excited about that. I'll let Paula maybe talk about our PAL program as part of our work if that's something she wants to talk about. But that is where we are at with one of our sort of big lifts. And I will say, in working with this vendor as well, there was a challenge of saying like, oh yeah, we've got Spanish services, and we've been finding out as we go, like they weren't as robust as we had hoped. So we have found that part of our responsibility in working with sort of those outside vendors as we bring them in is really ensuring that those are there. And so we thank ELV deeply for their commitment that they have made to make that work. We know it will benefit lots of other people besides just Wisconsin, and that is important to us. So I just want to give a shout out to your team who is working diligently on that. We can't wait for the release to everybody to share that news.
Thanks, Kelly. Oh, I guess this would be an appropriate time, and thanks for Kelly again for pointing out Paula there. If you're from the same team, please, your answers don't have to be the same. Say whatever you want to say. So we're just going to keep going down the list. Andrea, would you like to introduce yourself and talk about what's going on in your world?
Hi, everybody. I'm Andrea Gansky. I am from the New York AEYC, so the New York Early Learning Alliance. I don't know. I feel like we're always working on a lot. I would say right now we're focusing on growing the alliance. We also have our association's annual conference coming up at the end of the month, which is pretty large. We have about 1,500 registrants, so that's always a lot to juggle. Kind of takes our focus off the alliance a little bit for the month. So that's what we've been working on.
Great, thank you. And a little quick interjection here. I see some of us are using the chat. Please feel free if there's ideas, comments, or if you want to put out some information to say like, hey, I'd like to talk with you later, feel free to put it in there. Again, we're all just friends here, not a big deal. Corey, would you please introduce yourself?
I'm Corey Jankowski. I work with Andrea at the New York Early Learning Alliance. I'm with Stephanie. I'm kind of just really enjoying getting to hear all these ideas and what everyone's working on. So thanks for putting this together.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Sharon, I know you spoke a little bit earlier, but for the sake of posterity, would you mind?
So I'm Sharon Easterling. In a former life, I was the executive director of a NACI affiliate that was in the Philadelphia metro area. And 6 or 7 years ago, I retired and moved to Vermont and started working with Opportunities Exchange. And I do a lot of work to try to support the creation of shared service alliances. It's one of the main priorities of my work, and in also integrating childcare management systems as a vehicle for enabling those back office services. So that's sort of my area of interest and specialty. Oh, one other thing. I couldn't help but notice that anytime you ask the problem question, what's the biggest issue? It's always around workforce compensation and benefits. And we at OpX are trying to be really laser focused on how shared services can help to address compensation. So if you are interested in kind of exploring doing a deeper dive with your alliance, I'd love to have you reach out to me and I'd be happy to share strategies, materials, resources. We're in the experimentation phase with it, but I'm excited about that work.
And thank you so much. And to the group as a whole, please, if there's something that is either one of your skill sets or something you're really concerned with, again, please feel free. There is no right answer, no wrong question. Mr. Dan.
Thank you. I'm Dan Eckert with the Wisconsin group, WESN as well. We have a lot of things going on right now. I'll specifically just talk to a couple projects that I'm working on. Certainly, we're looking to kind of deepen our level of full business supports. That's looking at different systems, different integrations that we can do to automate kind of some of that process. We're also working on a new partnership with our quality rating system in Wisconsin, providing some business supports and TA consulting as well. So those are kind of two of the big things right now for us.
Great, thank you. And Lucinda.
Hi there, everybody. Lucinda Burns. I'm from Summit County, Colorado. For those who don't know, it's about 70 miles west of Denver in the mountain resort community. We have a small alliance and we've been working with ELV for a long time, right, Judy? Judy and I go way back. So we've really appreciated that opportunity. I'm sorry that my colleague Catherine had to drop off on another meeting, but she in particular would be able to talk about the great work we've done around managing some waitlist information for our community, our region, and how that can integrate with enrollment into the Alliance Core and into the child management system. And it's been a really big success. It's really helped a lot, particularly around our policymakers always want this data, and now we can actually give it to them. And so it's very exciting, and it has led to the creation of some new childcare centers. So we feel really proud of that, and we're building capacity, and we think a lot of it has to do with really getting a handle on that data in a integrated and comprehensive way. So that has been very exciting. I will say I probably have been more focused recently on our state's new universal pre-K program. We're an early childhood council in our community. Part of this, Colorado has a system of statewide councils. We're also the child care resource and referral, and now we're also the local coordinating organization for overseeing this management of universal pre-K. It's really interesting. Right now, there is not a lot of connection with Alliance Core, but we all know that there has to be soon in terms of both determining eligibility, enrollment, and particularly around payment management and tracking. Oh, and data tracking around program outcomes. So there's a lot coming ahead on this, and I don't want to frighten you, Christian. There is so much on coming up with this at the state of Colorado, and I don't actually see too many other things. Kelly, I don't see too many Colorado colleagues on, but I think we're all kind of thinking about the same thing. And what does this mean coming up for those folks, those of us that are working with shared services and particularly Alliance Core around the data management platforms?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Lucinda. Early Learning Ventures actually is an LCO, also a lead coordinating organization for UPK in Morgan County, which is one of the counties where we have our deepest Tier 3 services, the Early Head Start Child Care Partnership funding. So for us, we're really excited about that because Early Head Start funding, which we put into those programs in Morgan County, as they age out at 3, we really see this as a continuity of care. And I think thanks for mentioning that. We're really looking at what can we build into Alliance Core to make that easier so that providers right now in Colorado, community-based providers, licensed childcare providers can sign up and they're a little bit afraid. Like, what does that mean? Are they going to come take back money from me? So really trying to think about what build needs to happen in Alliance Core to support that and make providers comfortable that the compliance will be built in. So we're excited about that too. Thanks.
Can I ask a follow-up question to both of you about that? I mean, because that certainly speaks to my heart. Are you able to link the search function? Like, I'm thinking about the way you have this partnership with Lega, And that's what really allows you, Lucinda, to have sort of centralized wait lists. And right, and I actually pretended to be a parent, by the way, in your county, you know, because I wanted to see what it felt like. I mean, I just love it. So my question is, so if I'm a parent and I have one kid who's eligible for UPK and another kid who's a baby, can I actually search for my UPK and do the same thing through Leg Up as I can through, you know, for childcare?
Do you want to take that, Lucinda?
Much to my disappointment, you can't
Yeah.
right at the moment. So the organization that's working on the eligibility plan and the application platform for UPK has committed to figuring out how to make that work down the road, but we're not there yet. And
Okay.
it's another one of these, you know, we're building, like we do in everything in early childhood, we're building the plane as we're flying it. So we're rolling, you know, applications are already out, parents are already, you know, trying to access UPK, but if they want to access both UPK and infant toddler care in the same program, they have to go to 2 different sites right at the moment.
So just to put a thought in both of your heads, just know that Options Exchange would love to be helpful in any way we can. We were hired by Colorado to write that short report that Kelly wrote, right? And I know Bridge Care is your vendor. We do a lot of work with Bridge Care. I really, really want to see this happen. And I feel like you're a place where it could happen. So just know that if there's any way we can be helpful, please don't hesitate to just ask us.
Yeah, thanks so much, Louise. And yeah, you're right. Bridge Care, and we've been in contact with Bridge Care, as well as Leg Up too, which is also some, you know, we're using Leg Up when we're connected with them. But Bridge Care is something that we're looking at to make it, again, we're always looking at what makes it easier for the provider. So once they're up there and in the profile, how can we take information that's sitting in core and push it to make it easier for the provider to keep things updated? So yeah, definitely, I think there's more to come on that. And Lucinda, you're much closer to this.
And I also wanted,
I sort of have you on my list, both you and Louise, actually, to contact. We did have another meeting with Leg Up around any potential, you know, ways to manage some of this, but I'm not sure where that's going to go exactly. You know, the other thing, just in our community, we have a locally funded pre-K initiative as well. And so now they've got all these things that we really need to figure out how to streamline. So I think we could be a really good pilot community as we're thinking about how to make some of the streamlining go statewide. But we'll talk again.
I also wanted to add, because she was talking Leg Up and Bridge Care. So Bridge Care is the platform for UPK. Even people that are using Bridge Care for their waitlist system, you can't access both at the same time in the same platform. So it's not a competitive thing, it's even in their own system. So we have providers that are using Bridge Care for their waitlist, and they had to make a separate UPK portfolio. It's definitely not streamlined.
Yeah,
right
they
now.
don't talk to each other all right at the moment, but they could.
Exactly. And Lucinda, I thank you for pointing out. You go, Christian, I don't mean to frighten you. Don't worry. I believe the phrase is danger is my middle name. So Louise, would you please grace us with your introduction?
Hi, I'm Louise Stoney. I've actually been with ELV since birth, right? Since their birth. And kudos to ELV. Honestly, they understood the power of technology before I did. And I feel like we've really come to this now at OpEx and understanding it in a deep way. If you were going to ask me the number one thing I'm working on, that's it. And what we're really focused on is alignment. What do we need to do to make sure that what's happening at the program level, like we have this incredible power now for transactional data. Every child is checking in and out of a program using a QR code, right? Think about that data. If we start creating systems where that feeds up, and we'll really, really know where kids are, we'll know what's going on, but we got to break down the silos, and technology has the capacity to break down those silos. We just have to figure out how to do it right. So I spent countless hours thinking about this, talking about this, trying to figure out what's the next step, and literally rolling up our sleeves. I mean, exactly right, Lucinda. We need to go to a place and figure out how to make it happen. And then once we make it happen in one place, what do we have to do to build that out?
Awesome. Always inspiring. Shannon, would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. I'm Shannon Gage with Early Childhood Alliance in Indiana. And our shared service hub just celebrated our first year. So we're very excited. Yay. We're starting small. We have 17. We started with homes, and then we've added centers, schools, and ministries. I would say we're taking all the lessons that we've learned over this past year and making some changes, thanks to the great insights from our members, and really partnered with IU, our maternal child health group that is helping with some of our outcome and evaluation data. We submitted a manuscript. So we're really excited just to be able to capture the work that we're doing, what we've learned, and to continue to grow. But we couldn't have done it without a lot of faces around the table that have taken my calls or our group's calls more than once, so that we can learn from all of you, and then just great technical assistance along the way. The other thing I would say is we're still working with ELV on the CACFP sponsor piece that will help align, so that those that are a sponsor of CACFP can have access to that component through ELV, not just for the provider side, but also for the sponsor side. So we're inching closer, hopefully to be finishing and rolling that out in the very, very near future. On an agency point that I think I might have mentioned before, we're excited about is our organization has 2 early learning sites, but we have opened up a home in partnership with a manufacturing agency, and to help with recruitment and attraction of their staff, which is now part of our shared services as well. So just really exciting to tiptoe into that business partnership and be able to give another option to a center and see how we can work together to address some of those capacity issues. I think that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Shannon. You know, one thing that came to mind while you were sharing there was, I think the biggest part of this meeting, or at least what I would hope that we're going to gain from it, at least in this initial meeting, is know where your resources are, right? Because so often the hardest part is, I know what I want to do. I have an idea of how to do it, but I don't know who I need to know to get there. And that's what I really hope that we can take away. So thank you for kind of triggering that little thought in my mind. Paula.
Also, can I just?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Shannon. I just want to call out too.
I'm lucky to just have like Sharon and others on speed duty and them on speed dial to say, who can help me with this? And they're great connectors and continue to provide the great support. So I could not do it without everybody.
Yeah, and Shannon, I just want to call out too, because I don't know if you were on when we talked about we're going to be at the Child and Adult Food Programs National Association. And what's been so great is we're able to collaborate with ECA, because they are a food program sponsor, and they're expert through Lisa, who's the manager of that program. So she'll be there with us, co-presenting our table, so that we can really have the expert of what it's like to be a food sponsor and how this can be done in a shared services lens and how the technology can help. So we're excited about that collaboration.
Judy, on that front, can I also piggyback on one other idea that is relevant? So we've been in one of the states that we work in, Iowa, we've been really doing education with the food program sponsors around how you actually are a shared service, and you could be doing more than just the food program if you actually use childcare management software rather than just, like AccuTrack or something like that, right? And there's a whole long process here, because a lot of the program sponsors are very narrow, head down. All we do is push this paper, but the more that you talk about it, the more you begin to expand their knowledge. So I just want to say that for everyone in the room, really thinking about those food program sponsors as potential partners, they're there. And I do believe there are some that we can capture their imagination, and that's what sort of changes about. And by the way, we have slide decks that we've done for them, so don't hesitate. Like, we're happy to share any of this stuff. So if you know, and I know some of it's state specific, but you know, some of it is very transferable.
Awesome. Thanks, Louise. And Paula.
Hey, everybody. Sorry, I was a little bit late. I had a conflict of meetings, but as Kelly mentioned, another new bigger thing that we're dipping our toes into right now is startups. So childcare startups. We have a grant with the state focused on most of the areas of desert in Wisconsin, rural, northern, western regions of Wisconsin, 35 counties, with a goal to bring 100 new programs into regulation, roughly 85% family childcare and 15% center-based, trying to be really mindful of those centers because of the staffing crisis, and doesn't make sense to put one up in the same community that's already struggling with staffing. But there are other counties in our state in which there are no childcare programs at all. So it's really nice because we've learned from others who've done this work before, particularly in Nebraska, and some folks in Oregon who have done facilities work, and we've sort of put together this package of supports that number one is great coaching. We've got 3 coaches who have started up at least one, but some, 3 or more childcare programs, both family and group, that will walk them through the process. We've got some nice money to give them, up to $10,000 for family providers and up to $40,000 for center-based programs. We're replicating the startup toolkits that Nebraska has been doing. So kind of really focused on health and safety, some environmental stuff, but things like fire extinguishers, AED machines, first aid kits, those sort of things you need in your program to get those check boxes of licensing things. And then we also, so Kelly and I, a few years ago, developed a business training series, 16 hours, and recently, so that was in 2019, recently with the help of Amy Friedlander on Louise and Sharon's team, revamped the content of that, and then turned it into actually 18 hours to include some pertinent information about actually getting licensed, and put that at, it's right now getting uploaded onto a platform so folks can get credit for it. There's a lot of homework attached that sort of brings you through the process of opening a business. So, business plans, budgets, marketing plans, all the things that you need to do as a business owner in order to open. We have done a really great, we have a really great partnership with Civitas Strategies and have access to a really great resource library. So we've been able to pull those resources in. So that's sort of like the high level, like nuts and bolts of that program. It's been going really well so far. The providers that have been coming into the program working with us have been really tenacious, like just ready to get it all done, which is excellent because that's the sort of the attitude they need to open up a business in this field. And that's been encouraging. But it's new territory for us, but we're hoping then to welcome those programs into WESN. Typically, you can't join WESN until you're licensed. So this is sort of like, ushering them in and getting them started on the right foot with technology from the start.
Paula, thank you so much. Excuse me. I've been sitting so long and listening too much. That's what happens when I don't talk, apparently. Chanel, could you please introduce yourself?
I sure can. I'm Chanel Clark. I'm the manager of operations for WESN, working alongside Kelly, Dan, and Paula. They've all shared things. Our team is working on so many things. But one of the things I am just now starting to get into is revamping our operational manual and reevaluating our coaching processes to make sure that we are really providing in-depth, laser-focused business supports to help programs become sustainable. So, thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Kathleen, it looks like you're busy, so I will just move on for now. Well, basically, if Kathleen finishes up, she can introduce herself. But basically, the next steps that I would say we're going to take is obviously if there's anything that you'd like to discuss right now. I know we're at about an hour. I don't like to make up reasons for us to just hang around. So what I would suggest is, I've heard some themes today. Some of those are about conversion. Like, how are we getting people? And Lauren, thank you for pointing that out. Like, how are we going to get from just having the technology to utilizing it? Luis was saying, I undervalued technology until now, and I'm seeing the power of it. We've got ideas on pay and growth. I've heard automation said several times as something that we're trying to all get a little bit better about. And I think those are important concepts. My goal would be that we're going to go ahead and review this conversation, post this moment, and then be able to get an exit poll out to you. Because some of the things that I'd like to learn more about as we have these, because these should be quarterly, is essentially having a better understanding and kind of a communal group aspect of, hey, I know these people I'm speaking with. I know these resources are available to me. And I know who I need to ask. And one thing that I thought was really cool, and it feels very fitting, so I'll share it with you, and we can definitely continue the conversation. But again, I don't want to elongate things for no reason. I loved this one, and this is, again, going back to the responses from our pre-meeting questionnaire. What is one item relating to the programs or people you serve that makes you proud to be a part of early childhood education? Being that person they know they can come to for any question. I may not know all the answers, but I know the people who do. And that to me is very powerful. And so I would hope that if we can continue this conversation moving forward, that we're all willing to be able to make a little bit of time once a quarter, meet up, get our resources together, get our ideas together, find those connections that are going to make us successful overall in our various capacities. So before we hop off, I just want to make sure, Judy, anyone in the group, is there anything you feel like we should share? I should know, things that we could do better. If not, like I said, there will be an exit poll sent out.
I just wanted to make sure that Stephanie saw the chat before she hopped off about the Relief Squad tech, so she's not having to do it by paper and pencil anymore.
Thank you very much. Yes, I did see that. And I am going to reach out to Kelly if I have some questions and get some advice to move forward with that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Kelly, because that was kind of the whole thing. Is I know that we meet with all the different groups that we work with in terms of implementation and the things that we're working on. But I just think that this group in each state, although we have the common thread of shared services, everybody's like working on some unique things. And to me, the idea of being able to watch what others are doing and then be able to see if that's going to fit into what we're doing, and we can go much faster that way than everybody trying to do it alone, which I think, Louise is right. We've been at this a really long time. She was helping ELV start before I came. And so it's just been a long road, and I just want other groups to be able to go faster and to kind of learn from what everybody's experiencing. Like, I know I'm on the Wisconsin advisory board, but I'm also super interested in watching what they're doing. Because like, as other people are testing things, and it's like trying to be able to figure out like how that they're going to test it. And now I'm going to be able to go faster when we can try it. So I just, I think we just want to know, like, is this valuable? I think we've heard that everybody wants to get together, and we want you guys to drive like what the meetings are about. Like, what is the burning question that we can talk about? I know that we talk a lot about how do you recruit? How do you get them to join, use the technology? But then also some of us are working on how do you get them to convert and pay for what they're getting and help share the cost, or what kind of services are we missing? So we want to hear from you guys. We want it to be driven from this group so that we can start to address some of these deeper things and and hear other people's ideas. So would love to hear anybody's input on what we want to see going forward on this. And like Christian said, we'll send out some surveys and try to gain what people want to talk about next time. But if anybody has any ideas now or share with us later, that would be great.
Judy, I would really be interested, and maybe it's just me, so if it's not the rest of the group, I would be really interested in a deeper discussion of the integration with Head Start. I think one of the reasons when we're very clear that we're like neutral about what technology people choose, but we really listen a lot. And when somebody's got a Head Start footprint, we say, look, you need to talk to ELV. Like they're the only one that we know of that's really integrating this. And so I'm curious about whether or not there's any arguments that we can make on the other side, like because it's integrated, look at the different data we get, or like I'm thinking about the bigger systems level. How do I help state policymakers or others? Because, it's been a situation where Child Plus, like in COPA, have this corner on the market, and yet they're these totally isolated. You can't pull any data out of them. You can't integrate them. And so I think sort of positioning a way as an alternative and a way to sort of aggregate data would be huge.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. And we do talk to a lot. They have 80% of the market, and actually they're one company now. I think Child Plus bought COPA is how it works, I think. But when we talk to those big groups, they're so big and so integrated into those systems. But I think everybody, and I'd love to hear from some of you, we really see these early childcare partnerships as a way to bring funding into shared services for that deep tier 3 services, what everyone should get, right? The business side of things, but also access to not all of the services that come down through EHS, but the funding. So I know I've had several conversations with you. So I think they're related, Louise. I think you're kind of what we're talking about, but I think this, to me, that's been a turning point for our tier 3. It's sustainable funding. We have $6 million a year annually that comes to that to support those services that we deliver in that deep tier 3. So I'd love to hear if anybody else has any thoughts on it. I know Lucinda, you guys have been doing Head Start and early Head Start for a long time.
Yeah, and actually our Head Start program for a long time, and it's managed out of our office, but the staff wouldn't give up Child Plus for a long time, and they finally just made the switch like less than a year ago to Alliance Core for their child management system. But we do have a little bit of a different kind of Head Start program in that the children are integrated throughout childcare centers and family child and other programs throughout the county. So all those programs need to be on Alliance Core, but they are. So it's all worked. So I what we have not gotten into with Head Start, and I think this is where they're, especially in our scenario, is the payment management system, particularly where there's staffed or blended funding.
So I think part of what we do and the role that we play in this space is the messaging of the bigger messages and the more sort of let me think of how to say what's on my brain. I would love to be able to say, here's how some programs integrated data, both Head Start and childcare, and here's why it's good to have it all in one place. And it sort of would be an underscoring of what ELV does without saying this is a commercial for ELV. I mean, it would be because you're the only one who does it. But the point is, I think we could write something like that as like a Voices newsletter or you know what I'm saying? And the more that because I think people are so stuck in their silos, they can't even imagine that something could be different. And so what they want to see is the end result. Like, because we did this, look at what we can tell you. I mean, I'm making this up, but so if you have thoughts about that, I would be happy to work with you on it. And I would be happy to offer an opportunity to do, like we've done that with you guys before on data, like a Voices article, right? That shows, so I think we could do something like that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say it could really be valuable to, if you think of some of the data that Head Start and early Head Start are required to pull for their program information report, wouldn't a lot of that be valuable for a whole community, for the entire alliance?
Yeah, and I think one thing that we didn't share, Louise, is in Colorado, leftover federal I don't know if it was leftover or if it was earmarked federal stimulus dollars. They actually are contracting with current early Head Start childcare partnership grantees, which were one of 6, had the opportunity to tap into these funds for expansion. And what they want to see is expansion of infant toddler slots through the early Head Start partnership without the federal compliance. So to us, that was, yes, we want to do that because we see it as a boot camp to be able to expand, bring more programs on and not be under federal compliance, with the goal that we'll sustain it with hopefully some expansion and then they'll be ready to go. But I definitely see like that model is something that is, you need good tracking to not overwhelm the provider. And I also think with the UPK, like we're seeing that too. The UPK for our early Head Start sites is just going to be a continuum of care. Like they're not afraid of what's coming in terms of, billing for funding or what's going to be the requirements and stuff like that. So yeah, we'd love to talk more about that. I mean, we could actually, we can talk a little bit offline on that, but yeah, we definitely want to talk more.
Judy, just to let you know, we have some really great stuff coming into the comments, so thank you for putting those in. There's some conversation about suggestions on helping with recruitment to get more providers in the program using ELV. That's from Tammy. I'm just paraphrasing. There's curiosity about helping providers understand the value of the services they receive in deep coaching and the metrics that are being used and to track and the specific questions that should be asked. So I think, these are great. I'm more than happy if we want to discuss them now, if anyone has any thoughts, or if those are things that we want to table, or if you are looking for some immediate connections, like please just let us know, but please feel free to look at that chat.
I think one thing about the marketing, we actually are getting ready to release, I don't know what we call it, a white paper evaluation, because we actually started working with a marketing company about 5 years ago, trying to redesign our website because, ELV, it's a nonprofit. Of course, we want to solve everything, right? We're mission driven. We're doing, we're here for funders. We're here for this. And really looking at who is our base client. Our base client is we need providers to want to be part of these networks. And of course, we want alliances too. So we worked with a marketing company, very small, focused on small business. And we saw that connection with us. And we're getting ready to publish how that has spurred our growth in terms of changes we made in the process of our website, just the front facing and how we engage people through the providers specifically through the website. So we definitely will send that out and share it with you. And on the next meeting, we can have, his name's Tim, come and sort of talk through that. From, we've had him do some training webinars to the provider, how to promote their business. But I think we've seen a pretty big, significant growth over the last 5 years, and they're taking it on, showing what we tweaked in terms of our marketing plan and tools off the website and how our growth has been spurred from it. So we definitely would love to share that with you, and we could have Tim come on and just kind of talk about it from that perspective.
Tammy, also, I can just say, I was actually trading some emails privately with Lauren Small when she mentioned data. I think part of what we're trying to do at OpEx is really gather data on what results we can get from providers. And then you could message that to provide. I mean, I can tell you that we know that when a provider fully uses an automated childcare management system, their revenue will go up. They will make more money. But the reality is we need to start collecting data like that and be able to cite of this code. And so I think that's one, is really trying to get whatever data you have and really message it out. And then the other thing that we've been doing, and again, Sharon Easterling has a lot of this and can share it, but you probably want to create it yourself. We do little interviews with providers that use software. And it's just, you record a little interview for 10 minutes and have them talk, and then you message it out in your Facebook post or whatever. But again, hearing from another provider, what a difference is made. Because a lot of times the things that motivate providers are just soft things that we might not think about. Because I'm such a data geek, like I'm all about the numbers and the money. But a lot of time for providers, it might be, I figured out what this kid's allergies were because I was able to use the software in a creative way, or I solved the problem for a parent, So anyway.
Thank you, Louise.
And then it looks like, Kathleen, thank you for getting back to Chanel on that one. That would be regarding the metrics for coaching for the, let's see, deep, how'd you put that? Metrics for coaching. So that's very, very thoughtful. If anyone else wants to chime in on that, feel free. Any other thoughts or ideas at the moment, that burning desires, as one might say?
Kathleen, if you want to introduce yourself, I think you were on the phone.
Oh,
Kinda
that's
missed
right.
you.
Kathleen,
Yeah.
thank you. Did you want to introduce yourself? Yeah.
Sure, yeah, thank you. I'm sorry about that. I had a phone call I had to take. I'm Kathleen Moore. I am Executive Director of the Battle Creek Shared Services Alliance in Battle Creek, Michigan. We're actually looking at going through a transition here, so I value being a part of this, and hope I can glean some wisdom as we transition, possibly with another organization in Michigan. So happy to be here with everyone.
Thanks, Kathleen. Thanks, Ava. Any other items? Going once? Going twice? Please don't block me on your email. I'll try not to send too many. But do be expecting the follow-up. And to Judy's point, like, certainly we want to make sure that this conversation is really built for the people in this room, for those we serve, but like realistically, so that we can build those resources. So if you think of anything in between, always feel free, reach out to whichever ELV staff member is your favorite, or just the one you can get, but that's usually all of them, right? We're all your favorite. But we'd be more than happy to do our best to try and accommodate any questions or connect any dots that we can. I think that's a big part of what we're able to offer, and which is pretty awesome. Aside from that, though, I think I will go ahead and wrap it up, and we'll have 13 minutes back in your day. And I cannot I cannot thank you all enough for being here now, being there every day, and for all those things that you've been doing for us to make our organization what it is now. So it's a great pleasure and honor to be able to have a moment of your time. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.